I started Trust. Some of these characters are atrocious. Yeah, I'm just a little bit like, wow. That's because I really haven't had much to say. Underwhelmed. I don't know if this is gonna hurt me. This is it. And I'm just so thoroughly impressed. Started Trust. I am 32 pages in to this Pulitzer Prize winning book, and it is immediately obvious to me why this book has won the Pulitzer Prize. Well, maybe not immediately, but let's just say that the writing is very polished. The prose is, I want to say, immaculate. Like, that's the word that comes to my mind. It's just very clean. It just feels very smart, very educated. It almost seems very pretentious. Not to say that the author is pretentious, but this book is about the rich back in like the early 1900s, I believe. It would seem suiting that the author would use language reflecting that idea and to emulate that in the setting, this rich, lavish lifestyle that these families live. He incorporates that. Honestly, so far, I'm liking it very much. I like reading books that use my brain and aren't always so easily readable, and they really challenge me to expand my vocabulary and to see and use words that aren't as often used in a lot of books. And so I think that this book is going to challenge me in all the best ways. It is about 400 pages. It is pretty dense. I mean, the pages are full of words. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of dialogue. And so who knows, it could take me a little bit longer actually to read it. That's the book I'm reading, but I'm still doing the Amazing Readathon. This will be actually one of the sightseeing books that I'm reading. So each city prompt that we have, when you've completed that, then you can continue and you can read prompts that fulfill sightseeing, which you get extra points for your team. And there are all kinds of ways to do that. One of which is a book that has over 100,000 reviews on Goodreads, which this one does, and that I believe gets 500 points. Or a book with one word title, which this one also would fulfill. Things like that. I think that this Amazing Readathon has been a really great experience so far. It has made me pick up books that I wouldn't have probably picked up yet. And I always love that because I'm always tempted to kind of pick up certain books, and I don't know, like I enjoy the opportunity to read something that I wouldn't have gravitated towards. That's all I have to say for now. I just wanted to kind of introduce this book and let you know what I was reading. That's it. I'm just gonna go read. I'll talk to you soon. Hello. Pardon the freaking glare. It's like 7:30 and the evening sun just pours through this window. So it is a bit aggressive right now. I apologize. But I was reading Trust. I'm on page like 80. And I just found this portion that I wanted to read because I thought it was so eloquently put. Most of us prefer to believe we are the active subjects of our victories, but only the passive objects of our defeats. We triumph, but it is not really we who fail. We are ruined by forces beyond our control. I just feel like this author is so eloquent with his words. Like, he phrases things and these big ideas in such a way that are, I mean, they're easy to understand, but they're also big ideas. And this is a time in history when it was right before the Depression and the fall of the stock market. And this man, the main character, his business is in the stock market. That's how he expanded his family fortune. So there are a lot of big ideas and things that I think many people would go over their head. It would definitely go over mine. I don't know anything about the stock market and stocks and that whole business. But the way he explains it is I find it very easy to understand and digest. I feel like it's done with intent, and so I really am enjoying it, like I said, although I will say that some of these characters are atrocious. They are high society snobbery, and some of the things that they do and say are disgusting. I'm just a little bit like, wow. At this point, I'm, like I said, 80 pages and I've already marked like 3 things. I believe, from what I understand, that this is like 4 stories and combined in one book, but they are intertwined. And so as each story is told, it's kind of a progression of the previous one, and there's some sort of a mystery involved, something that leaves you questioning what's happening, or motives, or something to that effect. Yeah, I just wanted to share that because I thought that it was like a very adept thing to say. Yeah.
Right, it is training day, my friends. We will have a 7-minute warm-up followed by 2 10-minute tempo blocks, okay? These blocks will be separated by a 2-minute jogging recovery or relaxation.
I forgot my little notebook, my journal. I am just under 100 pages left in Trust. And you may be asking, well, Brenda, why haven't you updated us until now? It's because I really haven't had much to say. The first half of this book, not much is happening. The writing is good, like I mentioned, the prose is immaculate and precise. You're not really sure what the point is. It's all very ambiguous and kind of interesting, but also kind of boring because there's quite a bit of talk about financial institutions and financial matters, even a little bit of politics, and all within the historical realm of the United States and the Depression and, New York City in the 20s. That part was both boring and interesting, depending on the focus of that section of the book. It's really in this 3rd section, and there are 4 total, where things really start to come together and make a little bit more sense. Not much yet, but you can kind of see the direction that things are headed. I also wanted to just quickly mention what it is about a book that makes it a Pulitzer Prize winning book. What I've researched. It is based on distinguished books that center around lives in America, American culture and things like that. And this very much is that. A lot of people have given it 5 stars. It has over 100,000 reviews on Goodreads. I am hoping that it really pulls it together at the end, because just great writing isn't enough for me for it to be a 5-star book. Like, I need there to be some greater themes and motivations, something underneath that really ties it all together. From what I understand, that all very much happens at the end of the book in like the 4th narrative. That's where I am. I just want to give you a quick little update. And if I look like I've been taking a nap, it's because I did. I ran this morning. I did a 30-minute tempo run, which, oh God. Normally when I run, I do easy zone 2 runs or interval runs. I don't do a lot of tempo runs. Not that you care, but I'm telling you anyway. Oh, this really kind of like took it out of me. Half asleep. As I'm at the close of this book, they have announced the next prompt for the Amazing Readathon. And it is to read a book with nature on the cover. That could be mountains, trees, plants, flowers, ta-da, 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 right? So I think I am going to probably pick up The Women by Kristen Hanna. I have read several of Kristen Hanna's other books, namely the one that was my favorite and comes to mind is The Nightingale. This is one of her newer releases. So just quickly wanted to mention that this is about the Vietnam War, I believe. Yes. So it is about the female roles during the Vietnam War, one woman in particular, but it shines a light on all women who put themselves in harm's way and whose sacrifice and commitment to their country has too often been forgotten. A novel about deep friendships and bold patriotism. The Women is a richly drawn story with a memorable heroine whose idealism and courage under fire will come to define an era. I feel like this may closely resemble The Nightingale, because The Nightingale was the story of 2 sisters during World War II. I think that Kristen Hanna is a marvelous writer. I think that she does great at presenting emotional and traumatic things in such a relatable way, and her characters always just jump off the page. I have no doubt that this one will just check all those boxes as well. I think that's it for now. So I will talk to you again soon. Bye! So I finished Trust last night, and I was underwhelmed. You know, his writing, as I mentioned, is great. His character development and his character work, fantastic. But the rest of it, and I get this is a literary fiction. Literary fiction is not plot driven. But the first half of this book felt kind of disjointed. I wasn't really sure the direction that it was heading or what was happening. They seemed like 2 different stories with similarities. And then in the 3rd section of the book, you can see how the 2 are related and what the overall plot of the story is. And yet it still felt lackluster to me. And then at the end, you get the real reveal. Something that is supposed to make you feel shock and surprise. While I didn't see the reveal coming necessarily, I didn't find it shocking or really all that interesting, to tell the truth. I think I will give this book like 3 stars, maybe 3.5, because the writing is great. He just has a way with words, like I said, very eloquent and beautifully written, but just the overall oomph of the story, it just didn't do it for me. So unfortunately, it's not going to be a 5-star for me. I mentioned possibly reading The Women next. Since I said that yesterday and since I finished this book, I'm actually really feeling like not reading literary fiction right now. So I have other options over here. I'm just looking through really quickly. So I think what I might do is pick up A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, which I've had on my shelves for a hot minute, and I've really just been meaning to give it a go. This is one of those chunky books that, you know, I seem to have put off. A quick little side note, but I have not read The Prior of the Orange Tree. But from what I understand, you don't have to read that before you read this, because this is the prequel. I've actually heard some people say that you may be better off actually reading this one first and then reading Prior of the Orange Tree. I've heard this is more entertaining, more easily readable, and has just gotten overall better reviews. I could be wrong, but this book is very large, like what, 862 pages? And because this is a readathon that I'm doing, I don't know if this is going to hurt me because it is so big. It's probably going to take me a little bit longer to get through it. But if I can read it quickly, then I'm going to get more points. But I'm just really feeling like picking up fantasy right now, because I just finished Looking Glass Sound by Katrina Ward, which was a thriller, but also felt very literary in some senses. And then obviously Trust. I don't know, I'm feeling like maybe it's not the right time for this. Although I do really want to read it, I'm definitely leaning towards this one. I will let you know for sure, obviously, which one I decide to go with in a little bit after I come back from my appointment later today and sit down and read. I get BBL, which is some kind of a laser treatment, because I have rosacea, which is basically where your face turns really red, and I think it has something to do with the capillaries in your skin getting too close to the surface. And so then if I drink wine or certain beer, my face will flush beet red. Or at least it used to. Ever since I started getting this laser treatment, it doesn't do it anymore. And I swear by it. It has made such a difference in my skin, and with the rosacea, it's supposed to help get away from sunspots and aging spots. And it's supposed to just be really, really great for your skin, because it really, circulation and all that stuff. I don't know all the science behind it, but I've been getting it for like 2 years now, I think. Or 2 or 3 years, and it has been the best thing for my skin. So it will, like the day after, sometimes I will get like little, almost like little bubbles on my skin, which is like a little kind of almost like a blister, but not. And it's from just like swelling from the effects of the laser on the sensitive areas of my skin. So that can be kind of embarrassing sometimes, until they go away, which takes like, I don't know, a day or 2, maybe 3, depending on how bad they are. But I definitely think that it's worth putting up with that small little side effect compared to the good that it has done for my skin. That was a rant, but I'm gonna get to it. I'm definitely really feeling like it's gonna be Samantha Shannon. Talk to you again soon. Let's see, I'm 78 pages in, so not very far considering the massive length of this book, but I am very much enjoying it so far. I think that I was craving some fantasy, and this is checking all those boxes. It is very epic in scale, and the characters are lovely. It feels very much like a fairy tale, kind of. It just feels so sweeping in its scope and its world building, and I'm really very much enjoying Samantha Shannon's writing. It's complex in the fact that there are so many characters and interwoven storylines, but that is what I love about fantasy. I love that it kind of emulates the real world in the fact that it is so broad and there are so many players involved, and Samantha Shannon's writing is so very colorful. Like I can situate myself in her world easily and without effort, because her writing is just very immersive, and yeah, I'm very much liking it. I made the mistake of going on a Goodreads and reading some of the reviews, and I noticed that some people actually didn't love this book as much as I thought they did. Saying that it was too long and slow, but I don't mind a slow book if it's immersive and the characters are great. So hoping that I continue to love it so much. But also, like, the animal companions in here, can we just talk about that for a second? Because I can't even remember what they're called right now, but they are, what did she say? They are like what a lion is to a cat. These animals are like a mongoose. I forget how the wording was exactly. But can you picture a mongoose? And I'll have to put a picture of a mongoose up for all those of you who don't know what a mongoose is. It almost reminds you of like a cuddly bear. But they talk and they are companions, and so I'm here for that as well. And of course, there are dragons who have yet to make a real appearance. I mean, a tiny smidge of one. But anyway, long story short, I'm liking it. It's really good. The writing seems to be exactly what I was looking for. You know how sometimes, even if a book isn't the best written thing, if it is what you were in the mood for and what you were craving, that it's gonna rank pretty high. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about. I think we're going to get sushi today, so maybe I'll share. I mean, not the sushi, but what it looked like anyway. Good morning, sunshines. It's Saturday. It's about 9:30 in the morning. I got up this morning and I ran and did all that, had breakfast, and I'm about to sit down. Just hit myself in the face. But I'm about to sit down and read for a while. So I am about 142 pages in. And let me tell you, I am loving it. I know it is slower. That is true. It definitely is slower. So if you are looking for something that is very action-packed and fast-paced, plot-driven, maybe this isn't the one for you. But if you love a fantasy story that feels like a fairy tale, that really invests you in the characters, then this is it. I'm not kidding. The way that she has me feeling so many emotions for these characters already at 143 pages into this 900-page book, I am just shocked and in awe and adoring it. There are certain characters that are absolutely more interesting to me than others, of course. I mean, there's a large cast in this book. And I will say that at times I wish she used a little bit more of a distinctive dialect between the characters, since they are all from different continents or islands or parts of this world. I feel like there should be just maybe a little bit of a larger difference between the language used, just to diversify and make them more distinctive. But I am loving the fact that she uses personification. You know, when she's talking about different inanimate things, she adds human descriptors to it. And I love that. That is like one of my favorite literary devices, is personification. Because if there is one thing that a reader can relate to, it is attributes and expressions and emotions that people emote. And so when you apply those to inanimate objects or animals or, like houses and trees and all these things, it really gives you a great understanding of what it's like to look at those things or to feel those things. So I love that. And another thing that she does superbly is the descriptions of food. I didn't highlight them, I should have, so that I could read one for you. But whenever she discusses meals that are being served, they just sound so good to me. And I'm a foodie. I love going out to eat and eating different ethnic foods and trying different things like that, all the time, no matter where we go. And so to me, that is so fun when she incorporates that, because that is kind of distinctive, I feel, to each location within the book. I would have to say that my favorite storyline within this world so far is the Dumai, Yenora, and Emperor Gerudo. I wrote it down so that I would remember the names. I just find that storyline specifically very interesting. So, I don't know. I just love what she's doing here. I feel like it's very meticulously written in detail. I feel like she spent so much time familiarizing herself with this world and creating it. It really shines through in her narrative. I absolutely can envision everything, and I'm feeling all the emotions. And so, I know it's early in the story, and so I can only hope that it holds true. I just am loving it. I cannot say enough praises for it. And it was exactly, like I mentioned earlier, just exactly what I was in the mood for. Loving it. Yay. Yay for Samantha Shannon. It's supposed to be hot as hell here today, like 93 and gross. And so I don't know. I'm probably going to just sit my ass on this couch for most of the day and read. Because, I could go out and go swimming, which I might do. But sometimes it's just so hot and muggy that even swimming isn't refreshing. I made myself a cup of tea. I'm about to dive in, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'll check in with you in a little bit. Hopefully I've made a significant amount of progress. Bye! Happy Sunday. So I am at just about the 300 page mark in this book. So not even halfway, a third of the way. I honestly can't for the life of me understand why someone would not adore this book. It's a little slower, but it's because she's bonding you to these characters. If you leave this book without feeling connected to each one of the main characters, then I feel like it's you as a reader just weren't paying attention, because she just gives you so much of them. Their history, their connections with other characters, those bonds that are created, those important relationships that really lend your heart to them and really help you to feel that emotional connection and charge. And not only that, but there is so much happening. In each chapter, something happens. Some new revelation is revealed, or some event occurs that progresses the story, and each chapter has its own little minor cliffhanger that leads to the next, to the next, to the next. I mean, this book is just doing all of the things that a great fantasy story is meant to do. It is building these worlds and these characters and then leaving you wanting more at the end of each chapter. Almost 900-page book, and I am 300 pages in, and I can't tell you the things that I've learned, and it just all feels so colorful. And I can see inspirations from so many different nationalities and heritages, and that really warms my heart, and I love it so much. For example, I do see Viking inspiration in one of the cultures, and I do see Asian cultural inspiration from some of these. There are the animals and the animal companions and like the evil things that they discuss that we haven't seen too much of yet, but are starting to peek their heads around each bend. And I am just so thoroughly impressed and invested in this story that I am honestly like mad at myself for not picking it up sooner. Originally, I said that I wasn't maybe even going to read Prior of the Orange Tree. I do have it, but reading this now and loving it as much as I do, I definitely think that I will read that one as well at some point. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really, really loving it, and I still have 2/3 to go, so that could change. Who the hell knows? But I do think that I'm going to end the vlog here today. Like I said, it's Sunday. And so if you want to see my final thoughts and what I feel about the rest of this book, well, I guess you'll just have to watch the next vlog, because this is it, my friends. I'm going to leave you here and just say that I feel confident that the rest of this book is only going to get better. I guess you'll just have to stick around and watch next week to find out. I would love to know, really, what is your favorite fantasy character? For me, it's dragons. And I know that's probably a very common and cliche answer, because who doesn't love a dragon? But they're just so majestic and powerful and stunning. I don't know, something about them. It like overwhelms me when I read about them and when they do something great in the story. But I do have to say that the other animal companions in this story, I'm not even looking at the word, so I don't know. But the ones that look like a mongoose, I am quickly falling in love with them as well. They are so cozy, cuddly, caring, and powerful. But that's it for now, you guys. I am so glad that you stuck around and that you hung out with me, and I hope to see you in the next one too. So see you again soon, friends.
That's a really great intro. Oh my god, okay.
What's the word?
For existence.